Tuesday night. I guess we'll talk some Red Wings hockey. We haven't been on in a while because Yzerman runs a tight ship. There's been anything Red Wings going on for the last, month and a half, 2 months until you got Derek Lalonde Friday, new head coach of the Red Wings. Exciting. I don't know, Josh. You watched the press conference. What do you kind of come away with?
Yeah, I think it's easy to win a presser these days, I think. I mean, I think anything would have been better than keeping Blashill. I mean, you could have walked anybody up there. I mean, you could have walked Babcock back up there and probably would have had a greater reaction than Blashill. But really impressed with. He seems super intense, super focused, and I just from what I've seen on Twitter and some of the forums, a lot of Tampa, you know, hyper Tampa hockey fans are sad to lose him. They think it's a big loss. I think Eisman was showing his hand when he was waiting, because there were some really good coaches out there. Paul Maurice being one of them. But when it kind of got deeper into the playoffs, we got into the finals, and then a week later after the finals, we got Malone. I mean, I think it was pretty obvious. Probably the easiest we've seen, right? Easiest hand Eisman's gave
Well,
us.
I knew when we waited so long that he at least wanted to talk to some of the guys in the Tampa org. That at least that
Mhm.
was how I read that. I didn't know if we were going to get someone out of there or not. But you had a feeling that Steve had some familiarity there, and you've got winning pedigree, whatever winning brings, is always a plus. I seen you talk about Twitter and looking at the Tampa fans and not wanting to lose the guy, and that's obvious. You went to 3 cups in a row with him as an assistant coach.
Mhm.
I can understand why you wouldn't want to lose him, but there was actually, I thought, some negative reaction from Wings fans on this. I was kind of surprised by. I seen it on our board a little bit, and
These guys are
I said,
savages, though.
well, yeah, I mean they are. They're just wild.
Mhm.
Um, animals, but yeah, it was strange. Then the comment that I kept coming back across was, well, he doesn't have any head coaching experience, and they bring up guys who won, or were winning 10 years ago, and it's like, okay, fine, but these guys weren't born with 100, games coached and a conference finals, win or anything like that, right? So you have to have some respect for the fact that Yzerman went on what was supposedly an exhaustive search. I haven't heard the numbers on that anywhere, who he talked to or how many guys he talked to, but
Mhm.
it seemed like he put on the search, and you would think after finding a gem in Cooper in Tampa Bay that him not going with a retread, everyone should be fine with.
Agreed. I think, I mean, I like the part of the interview where it wasn't the presser, but it was the one with King Cal. He said, "I'm a relationship based coach," and I think that was lacking 100% in the last, regime. And I think, you got these guys in here. You've got I think it was a pretty. I think you had a good momentum going into next year. But I think a lot of guys were pissed. Some of these core guys did not like Blashill. I really do believe that, and it was very evident, a lot of the things that they were doing and how they were doing them, but it's a lot better. And just I've kind of did some digging on YouTube, just kind of interviews by Coach Lalone. Is it Lalone? It's Lalone, right? He
It's
said that.
Lalonde, yeah.
He corrected
You
us,
want to
right?
say, yeah, you want to say
It's
Lalonde, but
Lalonde. It's Lalonde, right? um
I've had to correct myself quite a few times.
yeah, I have to. It's a downriver thing, I guess. I don't know, but it's he seems super intense, and I really like that. You don't. It's not a clown show. It doesn't seem like a clown show. He's trying to rebuild this thing from a defensive perspective, and that I think we just have a bad taste in our mouth, from Blashill on that one.
I heard a lot of people, the word process was thrown out in that presser quite a few times, and it was like you had these people like going straight back to Blash, and you know, pitchforks are already out, the torches are lit, and it's like, you gotta let the guy do what he's gonna do for a while. And then you also have to ask, I think it's reasonable to ask, what does a coach truly influence? I mean, at the end of the day, the players have to execute, and it's their skill that's winning these games or not.
Hmm.
I mean, coaches can talk systems and you can talk lines and you can talk all these things, but what are you really looking for? Like, if you have to go like season one, you're gonna cut the guy some slack, but I gotta see what? What do you gotta see, like, that's different?
I think the one goal games, I think we always had a problem with that even when Holland was here. That was, "Oh, if we won more one goal games." It was just always that, and I think he was right to some point, but it wasn't the whole issue. I mean, we were in a lot of games last year where if we would just tightened up on D just a little bit, we would have beat some really good teams. That Florida game rings in my mind the most. We played them 3 solid periods, but you give up an inch to them in overtime like we did, they just capitalized on it. It was just but it was the way that they did it, it was they were supposed to do it that way. I got that, by the way.
Okay,
And,
sorry.
it's no, it's good. It's one of those things where, like I said, if you tighten up on D, you win a couple of those games. You block a couple more shots, probably win those games, and I just don't think that group of players knows how to win those tight. I mean, especially from the playoffs, watching probably one of the best Stanley Cup finals I've ever seen, outside the wings, competitive wise, grittiness wise. Um, we just don't have any of that. It's not even close.
I agree with you, yeah, like, those coaching decisions and how they, come down on games like that. I'd also like to see maybe on the other side, not maybe in the one goal games, but in the two goal games that Flash would inexplicably tighten up D the last 10, 15 minutes of the game and you're down 2 already. The those kind of decisions and those, how he the tactics involved and some of those things when you talk about the X's and O's, in hockey, just watching it, it's frustrating and kind of surprising when you talk about a guy, you hear the one on every level type, seems to be everyone anymore though. At least at the NHL level, I'm sure, once you get here, everyone's won at every level. That's how you got here. But
Right.
that's one of the main things I want to see. And the other thing I think that I really want to see is just from the fundamental aspect of understanding situations and what to do in those situations. You're down and you don't have any pressure and you're a defenseman and all of a sudden you're just trying just a Hail Mary stretch pass up the ice and it gets intercepted, it comes the other way, you get hemmed in for another 35 seconds, you didn't get to make the change. Those really easy things to fix, in my opinion, that,
Mhm.
would drastically affect some changes somewhere along the line. They will. Like, you're not just coughing the puck up. You know, the constant dump ins, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things like fundamentally that can be cleaned up pretty quickly with film. And that's what I'd like to see probably the most out of year one. Because I think
Yeah.
any of these players can do that. I don't think it's a skill thing. I don't think at this level it's an IQ thing. I think it's just more of, kind of zoning in on those mistakes and saying like, look, like we could have kept the puck here. Like you don't know what would happen if you did. You might not have scored, but it'd be better than just throwing the puck away.
Yeah, I think the film, I mean, he said from analytics standpoint, he'd like to win more games analytically. For some reason, I knew exactly what he was talking about, without because I hate the analytics portion of it. I think some of it's just stupid, but I get it. I get it. It's part of the game now, and you know, to what you said, winning games analytically, maybe there's something there reprogramming guys' minds into thinking, like, hey, I've got more time than I actually think here. Watching people like Hedman control a pub or McDonough or McCarr, it's always it's what Sider does. It's what Sider probably does as close to those guys as anyone, probably definitely on our team, but at that age is you have more time than you think. It's a fast game. Slow the game down. You control it. Slow the game down. And I think we see that. I would like to see that from Sider more. But he's going to get 25 minutes a game now. He's proven he can play. So he's gonna get the minutes, and I'd like to see him off more offensively too. Um, but we'll
I'd
see.
like to see him get him a partner that plays a little more offensively. I don't think they're going to give him Edvinson out the gate. I do think we'll see Edvinson this year.
Mhm.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen that question out of either, anywhere. There were some other non-coach related questions in the Lalone presser, and then Yzerman had a pre-draft presser today that was I like Steve with the
Stupid.
media, but it was just kind of a waste of time.
That was
Um,
just more of them getting together, and I think the only piece of, besides Art Ragnar, which I cannot stand, the only 2 pieces of of meat there, where him talking to Helene about not getting the first question, and
Yeah.
then saying Art had a good question about some completely shit question of if you could have took a off if you're going to take a center
Oh,
or a
yeah.
defenseman
Yeah,
or
if
a
you're gonna have a
goalie,
forward, a defenseman, or a goalie, and they're all ranked the same, what are you gonna
and their
take?
dicks
And
are all the same size. What do you think's going to happen here? You know, so he's like, that's a hey, you know, Art, that's a great question, man. Great
I know we
question. And you know what? I'm not going to answer it.
I know we haven't done this in a while with Josh. Is the language is off. Um, yeah, I don't know. I didn't understand that press release. I think the biggest thing that came out of it for me was he got kind of instantly hot about the Larkin contract question from Boltman, um, which I didn't get. I mean, there's that standard answer like, yeah, we've talked. We'll talk some more later in the summer, which isn't easy to just kind of brush it off. But man, he just shut it down. He goes, "We're not going to talk about that. I will not talk about that. Like, don't ask me about it."
Well, I think there too, when we talked before this for this episode, as he changed, I don't know, like the lingo of what's a lot acceptable when it comes to these negotiations, but he's going into the last year of his contract, and he switched agents to this new. I haven't done any research into this new agent or whatnot, or what kind of entertainment business they're doing. But maybe that was something. Maybe okay, well, if we're gonna play this way, Yzerman's gonna play that way. I think that's kind of where he is on it. And also, I mean, in the post interview with King Cal,
I
Lalonde
didn't get to watch
mentioned,
that. I was kind of rushed on that. I didn't
yeah,
get to watch after.
there wasn't a lot there. Ken's a great interviewer. It's just we're building up the guy, right? So the
Yeah,
softballs. So Lalone kind of filled in a little bit. He goes, I had a chance to. I haven't reached out to all the players, but he goes, I definitely reached out to Dylan. He's out of town. He couldn't make it back in for the weekend because he's out on the holiday, which he should be. Like okay, well, I mean, being the captain, maybe you come back in for a quick 3 hour and then maybe PJ back out to the lake,
yeah.
but
Who knows?
he didn't. So we'll see.
But I don't know. Big for this week. Draft's coming up. It's Thursday night, first round.
Mhm.
Wings have eighth overall. Do you have anyone you really? I mean, I don't really want to turn this into a long thing about the draft because it's just kind of a crapshoot. Like, I mean, shoot here. Like, no. I mean, I've said of Wright and Slavkovsky like at the top, and some say Cooley's going to go number two. Um, no one really says anything other than the two defensemen are probably going to go top five because that's just the way it goes. But outside of those five, there's no consensus coming up. Um, I'm as usual hoping the Wings take a forward because I don't think we can have any more D. I don't think it's even legal. It's
That's where you are, and it's not legal. Um,
it's
yeah, I
terrible.
don't blame you. I mean, this is where I mean, you gotta make your money, right? This is where you gotta find something here, and I mean, he needs to go after a center, but after that presser today, there is it kind of I forget who asked it. Is it kind of like a best player available?
Yeah, he
I
he said best player available. He's not going to tip his hand in this, I don't think. And there's a lot of people, you said trade up, trade down, and it's just really rare to see um that happen. Top 10 in the NHL draft. It's incredibly rare.
yeah,
So there are teams out there that are on the record saying that they will trade that pick, given the right circumstances. New Jersey's even said that. Um, if Wright falls to two, do they say no, no, we're gonna change our mind? Probably, but then Montreal's crazy at that point too to pass up on Wright because of one semi down year. The kid still played very good, so very
yeah,
well.
but I mean, the whole thing's next year. This is just a prelude to next year. Let's get our guys in, play as hard as we can, but get a chance at those first 5 picks
Yeah,
next
first
year.
five first five picks next year are big. I still think there's still some talent to be had. You got guys like Nazar and Casper. Um, they play center, and if there are going to be centers, that could be the way to go. Nazar basically is only, I mean, he's just fighting his size, right? I think he's 5'9".
Yeah,
But he's going to Michigan. I'd be kind of bummed if they took a guy um for another wing. Like at that point, draft lefty. As much as I hate to say it, don't you can find top six wings
mhm.
every year in free agency. Every year, there's relatively big name wings in free agency.
Well, I think you go to I mean, I think that's what just following Yzerman, he always chooses the freak athlete, it seems. You know, you get
They
Evanson, who's a
draft,
freak.
yeah,
Just
they draft for ceiling for sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you have the physical ability, I mean, the height thing's going to be an issue. Yzerman drafts big, aside from Raymond, which the skill was undeniable with him. It just vastly outweighed his size.
You look at point
Um,
too, though.
Point two, yeah. I mean, he's on a big team though. So
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
so is whoever they draft now, though. I mean, you got Edvinson, you've got Sider, you've got
Giovanni
Soder, you
Smith's
got Soderblom. Giovanni Smith's probably on the way out, I would have to imagine.
probably he'd be part of a
I mean,
deal somewhere.
Rasmussen's a big guy,
It's
so
gonna
I
be.
mean,
I think if you don't have anything there, you find the biggest freak athlete there that matches the skill. I'm sure he's got someone in mind. He's probably got a circle, and he's pissed if someone takes him, kind of thing. But um, only Stevie knows. It's been a roller coaster with him, that's for sure.
yeah. In regard to the draft, it has. You went Sider, and then he went Raymond, which I think a lot of people really like that pick. I loved that pick. I think that was a great pick on draft night. I was incredibly excited for that. Evanson, I wasn't
And
as
incredibly
excited
drunk.
for. I might have had a few. Um, Evanson, I wasn't crazy about, but he seems to be turning out well. I can see why some people thought he was a top three pick.
And then Kosa,
Um,
who, by the
no,
way,
don't go there.
who might be the best goaltender prospect in the league.
No,
Prospect? Who?
no. Uh, you got who's the one who went right after him? I know his name. I can't think
He
of it
went to
right now.
Nashville, didn't he?
Did Nashville take him?
Nashville
Second
took the
second
right.
goalie second goalie last year.
Who was the Russian goalie they took last year?
Oh,
The
that was
year before?
Askarov. That was the year before.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, man, I know his name. I talk about it all the time in our people who like talking about drafting goalies for some reason, but I can't think of it right now. But no, that's he's probably the best. The guy whose name I can't think of is probably the best goalie prospect in the NHL right now. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
he's playing pro Sweden. He's playing
Wallstedt.
pro, and
Is it
yeah,
Wallstedt?
Wallstedt, Jesper Wallstedt. Okay, I knew it was Jesper, but I kept thinking Boquist in my head, and I knew that was wrong. Um, but he's played pro. He played, you know, Kosa. Kosa's pretty good, but if you look at Bednash, who we took the year before, he's only 6 months older than Kosa. Kosa's an early birthday. Bednash is a late birthday. They've got almost identical CHL stats last year.
Yeah.
One's a sixth round pick, and one's 15th overall. So don't take
Ghost
goals.
is a freak athlete.
He is. He's huge. His side to side's fantastic. You gotta hope he makes it because we spent huge draft capital on him. Um, and I hope he does. I hope he proves me wrong and he's the next Vasilevsky or the next Wah. Maybe he's better than Hasek. I don't know. Gotta hope, but I wouldn't have made that pick.
Okay.
I don't really have anything else other than say we will have probably first round reaction Thursday night. We'll throw something together.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, everyone. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.